Hi, Parental Alienation Survival Coach. Works closely with Speak Worldwide nonprofit. And we're going to talk today about parental alienation, its effect on the children, the parents, and what Speak Worldwide is doing to provide solutions. What is parental alienation? Before we begin that, I like to start with certain incontrovertible facts, things that we hold as self-evident, truths that we all agree with. The most primary foundational relationship that a child has is that with his parents. Parents provide for, protect, nurture, teach, and build self-esteem in children. That's some of their primary roles right there. And everyone agrees that a child in normal circumstances wants, needs, and especially has the right to love and be loved by both parents and both sides of the family. So I think everyone agrees on that. But sometimes when couples split up, it's one of the parents' opinions that the child's relationship with the other parent should be completely severed and destroyed. And they mean it. And sometimes they'll even threaten the other parent, and say, I will make sure these children hate you when they grow up, or I will keep the children from you and you will never see them again. And they go about trying to do that. Parental alienation is often expressed in custody battles, with one parent blocking the other from all access or almost all access to their child. But it's not just about custody. It's much, much worse than that. Parental alienation is not exactly a medical term right now, but it's a commonly accepted phrase. And I'm just going to quote a little bit from Wikipedia, who quotes some of my favorite top family therapy experts, Baker, Burnett, Lorandos, and Warshak. And they say that parental alienation is the process and the result of psychological manipulation of a child into showing unwarranted fear, disrespect, or hostility towards a parent and other family members. It is a distinctive and widespread form of psychological abuse and family violence towards both the child and the rejected family members. And it occurs almost exclusively in association with family separation or divorce. So those four experts have contributed to that statement. It's very strong, the words they use just to talk about it. So let's move on to talk about how it affects the kids and the parents and what kinds of solutions are available. The way it happens is that the embittered parent uses bullying and cult-like techniques of shaming, mocking, and emotionally punishing the children for displaying normal feelings of love, affection, or desire for the other parent. Instead of validating the child's positive feelings and the child's need for love from both parents, this parent will squash that basic human right of the child to love and be loved by that other parent. They teach the children to hate and to be mean. And they reward the children for disparaging, disrespecting, denigrating the other parent. This ongoing process will condition the children over time to mistrust, reject, and ultimately fear without any justification the other parent, and usually the entire side of the family. It's a constant drip campaign of lies and false allegations and denigration of that other parent, using not only words, but body language, such as rolling their eyes whenever the kid mentions the other parent, or forbidding the child from mentioning the parent in their home. The parents will display outward signs of disrespectful actions toward the parent. For example, not answering the phone when the parent calls if they're trying to coordinate parenting time or pickups and drop-offs. And they'll refuse to answer the phone until the other parent becomes frantic and leaves an emotionally charged voicemail, which they then play in front of the children for everybody to mock and laugh at. That happens a lot. They'll accuse the other parent of spending all the child support money or not contributing to the child's support. And they'll continue this constant drip campaign until the child begins to feel superior to that other loving parent who did nothing to deserve the contempt. And the child starts to display symptoms of grandiosity, entitlement, and haughty arrogance. And when this happens, it's almost impossible to regain the child's respect because they have been so rewarded for showing disrespect and denigration and hate toward the other parent, toward the parent who is now completely disrespected and cannot win that respect back. Eventually, the child learns to bully this fit-loving parent with extreme hatred until the relationship is completely severed. And they know they're pleasing the embittered parent when they do this. Can you imagine what it's like to hate half of who you are as a person? One of your parents and the entire side of that family for no reason. In children, the sad result is things like chronic guilt and shame for the way they treated another human being, their parent. These children have said things that they regret for the rest of their life and acted in ways that they are ashamed of. It leads to deep emotional wounds, a litany of societal problems like premature sexual activity and teen pregnancy, gang involvement, susceptibility to predators, eating disorders, and worst of all, youth suicide. Some kids can just not take the stress of being expected to hate a parent that they love so much, and others have been forced to testify in court against their good, loving parent with false allegations and lies, and they come out of court and within days or weeks, they're gone. They're taking their own lives. So that's a little bit, I can go on and on about what happens to kids, but that concludes the section on kids. What happens to parents? I'll begin that part by saying rejected parents often, after this happens over months and years, they become passive, depressed, anxious, and withdrawn, and they complete this false narrative that they're deadbeats who don't care about their kids, when really they're just depressed and withdrawn after years of trying. Parents feel like their child is dying or dead. They feel like their hearts are being pulled out of them, or their child has been kidnapped and is being tortured. The depths of despair and ongoing trauma and chronic grief are severe and debilitating, and they include things like poverty and job loss because the parent has taken so many days off of work and spent so much time in court doing everything they could possibly do to fight for a relationship with their child, to be able to see their child, and get nowhere in court until they lose everything, the whole family fortune, their job, and they're living out of their car, some of them. It leads to depression, as we said before, and substance abuse, and again, suicide. The parents are committing suicide as well. They feel they've lost their whole reason for living. They feel overwhelmed and powerless because they cannot protect or help their child. One of their basic human parental functions is to protect your child, and they can't do it. It's very difficult to continue living a happy, fulfilled life when this happens. So please listen carefully next time you hear someone say that their ex is an uninvolved, absent, deadbeat father or mother. Maybe they were actually pushed out of the child's life. It's very, very hard for parents and even grandparents to move beyond this chronic grief of losing the relationship with these once beloved children. What can be done about it? This is the third segment here in my little talk. Can you make someone stop hating a parent and stop wanting the children to hate the parent? Not really. The court systems can order 50-50 custody to both parents, but they can't stop parents from behaving this way. We're moving toward a day when, if caught early enough, very strict interventions are suggested by the top family therapy experts, and there's no 100% guarantee that they'll work, but they are pretty strict and pretty severe about removing the child for a short time, not forever, just for a short time, from the influence of this embittered parent, and getting the child some therapy, and of course the other parent should go for therapy. But what happens when that parent doesn't stop behaving the way they always have? That's why we can't have a 100% success ratio there. But educating everyone who works with children is another way to help people to be able to see it early, to understand what's happening, and hopefully lead to early intervention and prevention. Speak Worldwide 501c3 stands for Stop Parents Emotionally Abusing Their Kids Worldwide, Speak Worldwide. It's a multi-generation faith and Bible-based charity for early intervention and prevention through our 3 branches: education, compassion, and spiritual restoration. The education division, teaching and speaking presentations, videos for parents and professionals who work with children in the legal system, schools, health and mental health systems, and we deliver the work of all of these many experts. I know I named 4 of them before, but there's probably about 15 I could name off the top of my head. We have the Compassion Division, which we build community via regional support groups in several cities worldwide. Local events such as day trips on Father's Day, Mother's Day, and other social activities for parents to get them out of their shell. Vibrant social media happenings, compassionate self-help and educational YouTube videos, which are being viewed worldwide. Individual counseling by professional volunteer counselors, group coaching via social media, videos and advice for taking care of you. And we have our Integrative Spiritual Arts Division, which we try to help restore lost faith connections through art and songs and poetry, Bible verses, prayer, and even sermons, which are very well received on our social media platforms. When parents are at their lowest and feeling like they really have lost hope, it's only the hope that's found in a relationship with the living God can save them from drowning in despair. Just like Jesus Christ pulled Peter up out of the water when his faith was weak, he can do that. Our theme verse is Psalm 34:18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and he saves those who are crushed in spirit. So we try to bring that love of Christ to people. We try to move them beyond their anger and depression, move them through the phases of grief, because there is a lot of grief associated with losing the relationship with a child. And we try to help them restore their lost faith connections. We have websites and Facebook group, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and like I said, the real-life local support groups are starting to spring up in several cities. So that's how we at Speak Worldwide provide a solution. We try to help parents with the emotional part of their journey. And more information can be found at www.speakw.org. Thank you.